I'd like to hear your stories. I'd like to hear about the text message you received Sunday, at the instant of realization, from a child who grew up without seeing it happen and then moved far away. Or what this threshold means to an elderly parent who'd given up on it. Or why this matters so much to someone who's seen the Buffalo Bills as a beautiful distraction during hard or painful times in life. Because I'll guess, if you're like me, the real power of the Bills returning to the National Football League playoffs begins with an image difficult to shake from your head. You're a Western New Yorker from Buffalo or Lockport or East Aurora or Jamestown, any of the places that join together as one extended community when it comes to the Bills, and you remember exactly where the kids were sitting in the living room. They were little, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years old, and they were happy, bubbling with laughter, the way small kids often react when the grown-ups around them are clearly joyous. And you were joyous, because this was about to be one big win. This was January 8, 2000, and you were watching a playoff game in Nashville that would serve as a chronological statement as one century glided into another. The Bills had fought their way to a 16-15 victory over the Tennessee Titans. You were sure of it. This Bills team, like so many Bills teams, could sometimes seem maddening, and sure, the town was still torn about whether coach Wade Phillips should have benched quarterback Doug Flutie for Rob Johnson, but here was the indisputable truth of the moment. Buffalo looked like the kind of team that can sometimes ascend late in the season to reach the Super Bowl, an aggressive defense peaking at the right time, an offense good enough to do the job. If nothing else, on that day, the Bills had won. That seemed ironclad. Steve Kirst kicked a field goal to put Buffalo ahead as the clock ran down to the final handful of seconds. The Bills would win as they had won so many times in the 1990s, that glorious decade when they so often came through when it mattered. All it would take was a kickoff and then a tackle, except the tackle never happened. Instead, you witnessed the impossible, the toss across the field throwback or miracle that turned a sure win into an abyss of a loss, followed by utter silence in the living room. There was no Twitter or Facebook, no easy form of communal lamenting. For many people, it would still be a long while before the purchase of a basic cell phone. So you put your hands on your head and walked into the kitchen or onto the porch in disbelief, mourning with a spouse or a sibling, cycling through that crazy, empty feeling in your gut, because the game was won. You were so sure it was won, and you were already set to cherish what always accompanies a postseason run. You were ready for the second season that defined the playoffs in Western New York, the Bills' flags flying in front of duplexes in Buffalo and bungalows in Lackawanna, the playoff conversations while standing in line at Wegmans or Tim Hortons, the toll booth operators wearing Bills gloves and Bills caps. You were ready for the way the playoffs always generated an extended holiday unto themselves, a warm bubble at one of the coldest and hardest times of the year.